Hey guys, well, welcome to another episode here at Purgatory Ironworks. So you know who I am. And today we're doing a classic. Again, a lot of folks like to ask, what items sell well at shows. Well, let me tell you, the barbecue fork sells well at shows. They're pretty easy to make, and I'm going to show you how we do them here in the shop. This is a piece of 3/16 by 1/2 inch flat bar, 18 inches in length, with a 2 3/4 inch slit here at the top. Now, you can chisel this piece. Again, Jay Riekert told me way back in the day, like I said, the bandsaw works great. If you have access to a vertical bandsaw, that is really the way to go. But if you need to, you can play with that chisel. A little tougher to do. However, I'm cheating. This is how we do it in the shop. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to end up actually making the back end of this fork first. We'll take a full heat here, and we've got to turn up a catch and then actually make the hook that we hang everything by. Before we do that, though, we're going to come in, texture it a little bit. We want to break this factory finish and make that hook, and then we're going to add the twist. Once we've worked on the handle, we will continue down here. We're going to stretch this guy, give it just a slight taper, and the last thing that we're going to do is actually make the fork at tines itself. So that's the plan. Let's take a heat. In some previous episodes, I have showed you some of the jigs that we use on the anvil tools and whatnot. One of the ones that we used for the old heart topper and a couple of the others were this guy right here, which is an 1 1/4 piece of round stock with the catch that's designed to go down in the hardy hole. We use this extensively in the shop. Almost all of the hook ends that we have for our fire pokers, for our cooking tools, are used with this jig right here. So it is a multi-purpose tool. You can use the anvil horn to make your round pieces, but your pieces never come out exactly the same, which for some situations is what you want. In a production situation, you want to be able to have consistency. If you buy something from me and your buddy buys something from me, the two pieces need to be relatively close together. And if you're starting smith, you can attest to how difficult it is to take that consistency and keep it. Jigs help. All right, got a good heat. I'll come over the edge of the anvil and I want to turn that piece up. Just like that. It will go here, it will catch, and then using the hammer, I'll walk this bad boy around. Now you see it still looks a little catawampus there, so I'm going to do something kind of neat. I'm actually going to put this thing in a little backwards here. And that is how I actually open this up. Now that is a neat trick a lot of people do not know. Everybody understands how to use it to bend it around. But to open that guy up, that's where you want to be right there. Got a little too aggressive, but there is the end of your fork. Real quick, real easy. Now what's going to happen is we need to put a little blacksmith's twist here. This is going to involve us going to the vise and either our bending bar or a pair of tongs. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll make kind of a haphazard mark. That'll tell me where to actually twist. We'll go in, take a heat right here, and then we'll go to the vise and twist this guy. Now guys, the secret to a good twist is going to be a good even heat. For doing this double twist here, we're going to need a good 2 inches of heat. So I'm kind of working her back and forth inside the fire. Now what we'll be doing is going to the vise, locking it in, and then using our bending wrench here to put that twist in there. This is not overly complicated. It just needs to happen quickly, smoothly, and easily, which of course, if you've ever watched my videos, you know rarely happens. All right, coming out. This piece goes in our vise. I find my mark. Go there. And here we go. Full rotation. Now you see it got off a little bit, so what I'm going to do is actually use the vise to bring it back into straight. This is a neat trick here. And look at that. See how I brought it back? Absolutely true. Now some folks actually have a cutout or they have some teeth in their vise that allows them to do it this way as well, but we're looking pretty good there. So there's your twist. So guys, we have finished the hook on the end. We have also finished our twist. And now we're going to start working toward the front of the fork. Now, you can just go ahead and do the fork and leave this untouched. And for a long time, we did that with our pieces. But I will tell you, I found out that if you taper this, it completely changes the look of the fork, makes it look a lot better. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in right here behind the tines. In fact, we're going to start about a 1/2 inch behind them. We're going to take a heat and we're going to draw this out. Just give it a very slight taper and some hammer marks. Just going to make it look good. Remember that if you are using a coal fire, remember that the tines of the fork, even though they haven't been pulled out, are still very, very thin metal. Of course, the problem with that is in that coal fire, you will melt the bejesus out of them real quick. So be mindful. A little more heat and we're good to go. Before we go in the center of the anvil right here. All right, guys, we've got a good heat, and here we go. Again, you don't have to do a whole lot, but you can see we just want that little gradual taper there. Gonna do a little chamfering on the edge. And now, I'm just going to straighten this guy up. And there you go. This looks just so much better than the standard piece, and that wasn't a lot of hammering. And now we can move to our tines. Tines are always a bit of a tricky thing, simply because you're pulling out metal that's so thin so quickly. You're used to working on a 1/2 inch or something heavy. You really want to get there and swing that hammer, but if you do that with such a thin piece of metal, it flattens so much that when you go back to square it, of course it rolls over and creates a cold shut. So you have to stay away from that, and remember that when you're dealing with those tines and dealing with those fine points, you got to ease up on that hammer a bit, especially if you're using like a 2-pound like I am. Alright, got plenty of heat. I'm going to bend one tine out of the way. And a little bit of rounding, and there you go. I'll put our other piece back, take our next heat. Tines moved out of the way. And now both tines have been done. What we'll do next is we'll come in, we'll actually separate these two, open this up so I can go ahead and make sure and get in there and camfer those edges a little bit. And then we'll use our cutting hardy to actually set the space in between these two pieces. This is the cutting hardy that we use on our anvil. Square shank, this is a piece of 5160 spring steel off of a Chevy truck. I actually use this to make my forks with because you can see that it's nice and thin. There's about a 3/8 piece here. And so when I do my forks, it's almost the exact size that I want for them. So when we've split those forks, we've got a good centerpiece here. They will go over here and I'll be able to straighten those tines up and get them looking good using this cutting hardy. So, before I put that in, let me go ahead and open those tines up. If you don't take the time to open these things up evenly, you're probably going to have a real issue getting the look right. I just find it always helps to open them up first. And now while I got some heat left, I'm going to drop in the cutting hardy. I push firmly against it and I work it from both sides. If you just do one side at a time, you'll actually draw it to one side or the other, which is not what you want. And ba-bam. Let's take one more heat and then we're going to the horn of the anvil. We come out, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kink this down just a little bit to start with, then lay it over the top of the anvil and make the tines curl. Now you see that's a little catawampus, so what I'll do is adjust that. Again, you can freehand this, but it's really easy to get it off. If you want to really make sure it's back right, you can simply put your cutting hardy back into place and reset it there. And there you go. Oh, just a little bit more down. Now, there you go. Take two. So guys, here she is. As you can see, we have one nice barbecue fork. Now we do it a little bit differently than Jay did it. We actually make our tines a little bit longer, but you can see that this long, this just a little bit of taper there, a little bit of texture really makes it look good. Of course, you got a good solid twist, and of course the Purgatory stamp of approval. This is a good fork. This is a seller. You should be able to get 20 bucks out of this at any show. She's been wire brushed, she's cleaned up, ready for the linseed. You can do the baked on finish, or you can just do the straight linseed oil. Just make sure and let it dry. But hey, man, she is ready to rock. And there is your barbecue fork. Guys, doing things like this, I mean, I can't tell you how many hundreds and thousands of these things that we've done. You know, these are money makers. These are things that you want to make as a blacksmith. These are great gifts. I think besides the barbecue fork and the railroad spike knife, probably not an item that's been made more by hobbyist blacksmiths out there. And again, mild steel, good stuff. You can get it Venturous if you can find some stainless. You can actually make these out of stainless, and they're really cool. They're expensive, of course, but they are pretty awesome. And hey, you know, when you get good with the fork, you know, you can move up to the barbecue spoon and dual wield that bad boy. Which, by the way, is coming up. We are going to do the other sets to this. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Man, everything's been going so good here in the shop. I didn't drop this thing once. Well, at least not that you know of. And yay, rah. So guys, be good. As always, like, comment. You know I read the comments. You got a question, put it down. Subscribe. Make the channel great. But guys, be good, and I'll see you later.